Simon, good morning to you. So the official word from government is that President Nkurunziza died of a heart attack. At the same time, there are reports that his wife is being treated in hospital for possible COVID-19 symptoms. Do we know exactly what took the life of the president?
We don't at this point. So the government's version is that on Friday afternoon or Saturday afternoon, Pierre Nkurunziza was attending a volleyball match. He started to feel ill at that volleyball match and he was rushed to a nearby hospital. At that hospital, he was treated. He started getting better on Sunday. And then on Monday, he suffered a cardiac arrest. And after several hours of trying to resuscitate him, he was declared dead. Now, at the same time, local media in Burundi, as well as some opposition groups, are saying, no, that is not the complete story. And they are saying that actually Pierre Nkurunziza had contracted COVID-19. We know that his wife, the First Lady, is positive for COVID-19, and she was airlifted to Kenya for treatment. 3 of her bodyguards were also positive for COVID-19 and were airlifted along with her. We don't know about Pierre Nkurunziza's status, and we also don't think that the government is going to tell us one way or the other.
Yeah. Let's talk about the legacy that he possibly lives behind, Simon. You've written extensively about Burundi politics and Pierre Nkurunziza's 15-year reign in power. How do you think his country will remember him?
I don't think that history is going to be very kind to Pierre Nkurunziza. Particularly the last sort of 5 years of his rule. So in 2015, he started to want to change the political situation to allow himself to stay in power for longer. And the way that he did that is by unleashing a wave of violence against all forms of opposition. He empowered a youth militia aligned with the ruling party to sort of rape, torture, murder people on his behalf. And it's something like 300,000 to 400,000 Burundians were forced to flee the country, fearing for their own lives. There were periodic bouts of violence ever since then. In 2018, of course, he changed the constitution in a manner that would have allowed himself to run again, except that this made him so unpopular that even his own party decided, no, this is not a good idea, and refused to allow him to run again, which is why he was forced to hand over power to a hand-picked successor. So I think that he'll be remembered, A, for bringing a sort of new wave of violence and political turmoil to Burundi, and B, for his total failure to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. Burundi is one of the few countries to have taken no action whatsoever to enforce social distancing or to try and contain the spread of the virus. And this really, they also expelled World Health Organization representatives over disputes over the statistics and over the course that the government was taking. And I think that this has led to doctors and health workers on the ground in Burundi are saying the situation is much worse than official figures suggest. Official figures say that only 80-something people in Burundi have contracted COVID-19, but the reports from doctors are very different. And now, of course, if it is true that Pierre Nkurunziza did die from COVID-19, there would certainly be a lot of irony in that.
Simon, very briefly for me, I mean, it's not usual for the ANC to issue a rebuke against an African leader, but we know at one point the ANC was forced to actually issue some harsh words against Pierre Nkurunziza. It's always interesting when a controversial figure does pass, how fellow African leaders remember that leader. How do you think these African leaders are going to remember him?
The ANC, of course, this is very personal for the ANC. South African leaders were instrumental in bringing peace to Burundi following their civil war. Jacob Zuma was a key player in that. And so I think that they felt almost sort of personally offended when Pierre Nkurunziza seemed to take this turn towards authoritarianism. And I think that, that relationship and Nkurunziza's alienation from both, South Africa, but also his regional peers in the East African community. He was not a popular figure, and I think that will be reflected in how he is remembered.
Simon Allison, thank you very much for your time.